Welcome back, everybody. Episode number deuce. So we're back with some local favorites again. Obviously, if you look around, we're going to be making some kind of football themed and obviously hockey themed delights. So some chili, some Gridiron chili, and we're going to do some cheddar, not dry cornbread. Nobody likes dry cornbread, right? But first and foremost, shout out to our local brews. I am drinking some Cigar City High Voltage, pun intended, obviously, IPA. Super easy to drink, even though it is kind of high alcohol, 6.5. Very tropical, very light on the citrus, but very high, kind of on the pineapple note, but super tasty.
Hey, and I'm drinking Gronkzilla, brought to you by Butterworks, and it's the can says it's a double dry hopped red IPA. It's red, it's wet, and it's pretty good. So go out and grab some. Go Bucks. Maybe next year, but hopefully Gronk, you'll be back next year.
Don't retire. Don't do it.
Let's go.
All right. So first thing we're gonna do. What's a better pairing with chili than cornbread, right? Like we mentioned before, nobody likes cornbread that's dry. Yeah, kind of gets stuck in your throat, makes you really thirsty. I guess that's good when you're drinking beer. Makes you drink a lot more. Maybe you pass out quicker, who knows, as Forrest is guzzling his beer. Good job. But anyways, cornbread's super simple. Just a few dry ingredients, a few wet ingredients. You can add and subtract kind of anything you want as far as like cheese and jalapenos and bacon and green onions and all these things you can add to it. But we're going to keep it super simple today. I'm just going to add some cheese. So what we're going to do, I'm going to have Forrest do all the work as I enjoy my beer because he just enjoyed his. We're going to combine all the dry ingredients first. We're going to add all the wet ingredients. Then we're going to fold some cheese in and we're going to throw it in the oven. All right,
Let's do this. So we got flour, right? Was it two cups?
2
of flour?
cups, yep.
I don't know. I just measured all this stuff out off screen a couple minutes ago.
So a fun little trick that I do in case you forget what's going on. And we do this in our professional world too. So whatever we're working on, we kind of tape to the wall somewhere near us or right in front of us because we forget. We're getting old. I'm older than this guy is, but we forget stuff. So it's always right here when we forget. So.
All right. So why do you have so much sugar in this cornbread? I mean, that's a lot. That's like, I'm looking at this recipe and it's literally as much sugar as cornmeal. So what's the deal?
That's how we gravitate towards as Americans. Americans, we love sugar. And kind of the same thing, as I mentioned before, by not having dry cornbread because it's not tasty. Cornbread that doesn't have a little bit of sweetness is also not very tasty.
Oh, sorry. That was baking powder and salt.
Salt, yep.
Okay, so the baking powder helps it rise.
Correct. Yep. Baking powder is the mechanism that reacts with heat that causes air to go through the cornbread batter, and it will rise in the oven.
So let me ask a question. That sounds like what yeast does. When do you use baking powder and when do you use yeast?
So yeast is a little bit different, and yeast develops different. So as baking powder, it's a straight chemical, right? It only reacts with heat. As soon as you apply heat, it starts to react. Mm-hmm. Yeast is a living organism. Yeast feeds off of the sugar that's in your product, and it releases alcohol and carbon dioxide. Obviously, that's why we use yeast for beer too. But it's a slower process. It results in a different flavor. And it also gives a different texture as well. So we could use yeast in this application, but it would be more bread-like. Have a little more texture, and it'd feel kind of weird. It'd kind of be gummy a little bit. Whereas,
probably would take the sweet tasting aspect.
It might. So I mean, yeast has that bready kind of taste, but it'll kind of have a gummy kind of texture instead of being light and like a cake.
Well, we don't want gummy cornbread.
No, I'm pretty sure we don't. So let's go ahead and add our wet ingredients. So we have
this is all measured, right?
Yep, it's a I did. I got your back. Don't worry. Cup and a quarter of milk. We have these recipes we'll share as well. We have half a cup of melted butter. Butter is delicious. One of my favorites. Go team, go. Okay, we're gonna add half a cup of oil. And 3 eggs.
No, the eggs don't have to be beaten before you put them
Nope,
in here.
because you're gonna mix them in there.
Got it. Okay.
There you go. Kind of pop those yolks, then mix them in.
Let's see the batter.
Once it's all combined, see how it's getting nice and thick, and make sure we get all that flour off the bottom. There you go. Once that's all nice and combined, we're gonna add the cheese. We're gonna throw it in our greased pan, and we're gonna throw it into a, oh, yep, either way is fine. Just a little bit more, there you go. Make sure you get everything off the bottom.
So is this a situation where you can overmix?
Not so much. I guess you could technically if you're gonna do it over and over and over. But you really want to have it combined, almost like the consistency of like a pancake batter. But you still don't want to have any lumps and those kinds of things. All right, very good. Let's gonna add our cheese in. Okay. And just stir that till it's just combined. All right, very good. We're gonna transfer it right to here. Scrape it all out. And I'll show you guys a mistake that some bakers make.
I didn't.
Yeah. I'm gonna share this technique before Forrest makes the mistake. So what we see, sometimes you'll see bakers take this and tap it up and down, right? Trying to smooth it out. But what we're doing, as we're kind of stirring this, we're adding a little bit of air in there with the whisk. So when you're doing like this, you're tapping all the air out. So all we're gonna do is we're just gonna shake it. It's not gonna lose that air. We can just shake it side to side, and it's perfectly level.
So you twerk your cornbread.
I twerk. That's the only twerking you'll ever see me do. I'm pretty sure if I tried the other twerking, I might hurt myself. So at this point, we're just gonna throw it in the oven. Fair enough.
That's a 350, right?
350. Yep.
Okay.
All right, gridiron chili time. So
Sounds good.
perfect day to do this in Florida. It's 33 degrees this morning. Really? What the hell? You know? Chili. Yeah, chili on a chilly day. Very good. Yeah. I'm buying what you're selling. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
A little bit of technique in making chili just on our knife cuts. So we're gonna do some small to medium dice on our red pepper, green pepper, and onions. I'll show Forrest a really quick way to go through the onion. Instead of taking, as you said, 20 minutes to chop your veggies, yeah, it will take maybe just a couple of minutes. And I'll show you a good technique not to waste any pepper too.
Okay, sounds
right.
good. Lead the way.
I'll lead the way, and I'll turn it over to you. So peppers are weird because they're kind of shaped weird, right? So easiest way to do it, what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut the top off, right? We have a little bit left. Cut the bottom off. We're gonna get rid of this. Then we're gonna cut our 4 walls, right? And all that's usable. All that is waste. Oh. So we'll start with these first because these don't have to be perfect, where these are a little bit easier. So we're just gonna cut kind of like 1/4 to a 1/2 inch squares, right?
Okay.
Once again, always keeping our knife on our non-cutting hand, so we don't cut our non-cutting hand. And we're just gonna cut strips, right?
Okay.
We're gonna turn it the other way. We're gonna do exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Nice squares. When we get to the square part, it's a little bit easier because it already follows that natural shape, right? Same thing, we're gonna turn it.
Okay.
Nice squares, right? So I'll leave this for you to do. And know what to do. As far as onion, it's interesting, onion. So in the professional world, when you interview a cook to come join your team, right?
You ask them to cut an onion.
You ask them to cut onions. You want to see if they actually know what the hell's going on, you know? Because people get it wrong. Even professionals get it wrong, you know? So I cut the ends off, both sides, right? I cut a little slit on the outside, and I'm just going to peel the outside layer off. Okay, just like that. Same place we made that cut, we're going to cut it right in half. We're going to turn both sides over. Turn it towards you, with the cut side towards you.
Okay.
And we're going to cut almost all the way through, leaving about that much, right? So nothing falls apart. And we're going to kind of follow the natural curve of the onion. Kind of that 1/4 to 1/2 inch, right?
Okay.
Then we're going to turn it. Same thing. 1/4 to 1/2 inch. When we get to that last piece, it's still attached, right? So then we're just going to cut right through it.
That's pretty cool.
Much faster than taking it apart, trying to buy different layers and
All right.
So while you're doing that, I'm gonna get the ground beef starting to brown. All right. All right, so taking our 2 pounds of ground beef, gonna brown it. This is a 90-10 sirloin. And the reason I choose 90-10, it's gonna give us a little bit of fat, but not a whole lot. So when we brown the meat, that little bit of, we're gonna take it out, and whatever's left in the pan, we'll use to cook our veggies in. So you can see it'll take about 5 or 7 minutes to get this nice and brown. We're getting to that point where it's starting to cook all the way through. Now, if you can see in the back here, you got a little bit of fat, a little bit of water. Like kind of.
Jesus, I'm crying over here.
Yeah.
Got these onions.
Not sure if you can hear Forrest over there. Apparently, it's his first time ever cutting an onion. Yeah. Onions hurt, by the way. Yeah, just wait till our next episode where we use red onions.
Oh God.
Then we'll really hear Forrest cry.
Yeah.
All right, so at this point we got the brown meat taken out. If you can see in the pan a little bit, I'm gonna try to do this without burning myself, but the residual fat is still in there. Still a little bit of water from the meat too. So we're gonna cook a little bit of that water out, let it evaporate in about 30 seconds. Forrest is gonna bring over all these great vegetables he cut without cutting himself.
3, 2, 1.
Bring it in, yep.
Oh God.
Forrest can't count, even though he's a financial planner.
I can count. There's just not dollar signs attached to those numbers.
So we're gonna not quickly, but in about 3 to 5 minutes, let this kind of soften up a little bit, let some of those flavors come out. We're gonna add our meat back in, then we're gonna add a bunch of other stuff. So we're gonna add our diced tomatoes, we're gonna add some black beans and kidney beans and some roasted corn. And then we're gonna let it all kind of cook together, get nice and delicious, and we'll have some chili here very shortly. Forrest, so a little technique I want to show you. So tomato paste, right?
Yep.
We use that for a lot of things. We need tomato-based soups. We use it for braising short ribs. We use it for chili, right? A technique people don't know about, it's called, in French, it's called a pincer, almost like P-I-N-C-E-R. So we're actually going to cook this with our vegetables to get the bitterness out of the tomato. So if you can see in here, we made a little well in the middle of our veggies, and it got some of the oil in there. So we're going to fill that well up with our tomato paste.
So how does that get the bitterness out?
So we're actually cooking it and adding a little bit of more heat than you would just stirring it into everything else, you know?
Okay.
So we're actually cooking the product by itself, if that makes sense, you know?
Okay.
All right, so about 35, 40 minutes have passed. We're gonna pull our amazing cheddar cornbread out. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. Look at that awesome crust on the outside. My favorite part.
Yep.
It's nice and firm in the middle. We are good to go.
Awesome. That looks great.
Give it a stir. So we got
All right.
our tomato paste been cooking for a while. We got our veggies. Stir it all up together. Veggies are getting nice and soft. All right, mix it all together. We're going to start adding all of our canned vegetables, so our corn and beans. And
should we add the meat
tomatoes.
back to it?
Yep, we're going to add the meat back to it. We'll start with that.
All right, sounds good.
Put the meat here. All right, we're going to start adding our canned veggies, right? So we got some roasted corn. Forrest is flinging meat everywhere.
Yeah, just a little.
All right, so we got some black beans, right? And add those in. And you notice we're not draining any of the juices. All those juices got free flavor. So it really adds a little bit of complexity to the dish. All these canned goods have a little bit of salt. So we're already adding salt here as well. So that's gonna add a little bit of flavor. Some kidney beans. We're gonna do some diced tomatoes. This has a little bit of garlic added to it. You can do whatever flavor you'd like. This one right here is the one my wife Louisa does not like. It's the diced tomatoes with green chilies. Even though it's mild, it's still spicy to her. So
It's spicy. I've used that before. It's
Making them really spicy.
no.
Man, that looks amazing.
All right, gonna add one more can of beans. And we're gonna add one of my 2 secret weapons for chili. So this is the first one, some V8. And I like to use V8 for chili and for soups because it adds an extra backbone of flavor. V8's got a lot of flavor by itself. Different vegetables all blended together.
The field goal.
Oh,
Right.
I was trying not to say that. Thanks, Tanya.
Sorry.
Yeah, Bengals win. Bengals win.
Sorry, we just time dated this video.
Yep, so what we're gonna do, we are gonna add approximately 2 cups of V8, and it's gonna bring that moisture level basically to the top. So as you can see, we got a little bit of all the juices. The V8 is kind of sitting on top of everything else, the meats and the vegetables. We're gonna bring that to a boil, or at least a simmer. You can stop stirring at this point because we're just gonna let it go and do its thing, you know?
We just dated ourselves for this video. It's either 2022 or 1989.
1989. Yep. Yep. Back when they had the Bengal striped spandex pants, you know, or was that AFL?
Oh, yeah.
Arena football, you know?
Back when Milli Vanilli was just getting ashamed of what they were doing.
Yes. Was that when Milli Vanilli was actually singing, or we thought he was singing? Yeah.
Oh no, that was when they got exposed, and then I think Vanilli killed himself a couple years later.
Yep. So Milli Vanilli, that kind of
was
puts
it
us in the
Vanilli?
same time frame as. So Vanilli went to Vanilla. So Vanilla Ice right behind that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you know that guy actually, he's laughing himself through the bank. He's had like a variety of careers. I think he's doing real estate now.
He is. He's kind of flipping houses from all these houses that are like mansions gone to hell, basically, and making a lot of money flipping them and restoring them.
Well,
Doing a great job.
I guess he's probably in the space of knowing whose rap careers have crapped out.
So as this comes to a simmer, we're gonna add my second secret ingredient, which makes chili really good. So we have ground beef, right? So we really want to emphasize that beef flavor. So we're gonna add some beef base, right? This is really gonna add that beef flavor we're looking for, and it's also gonna add a little bit of salt
Okay.
at the same time. So we're gonna add about a 1/4 cup.
Damn, that's a lot.
That is some good flavor right there. Let you stir that in. And at this point, we'll add our spices too. And the reason we do our spices at the end, a lot of amateur and professional cooks with chili make the mistake of adding spices too early, and the spices overcook. Yes, we can do that. We can overcook spices and they get really bitter. So if you ever had chili that kind of has a bitter aftertaste, It's because the spices have been cooked too long. They're at too high of heat. So we're gonna add chili powder. And I'm gonna do it the old fashioned way and measure my hand. So we're gonna do about a quarter cup, right? So I've got about
I've been told I'm kind of bitter.
You are.
You are very bitter, yeah. Not even a little bit, a lot of it, you know. So a quarter cup of chili powder. And one of my favorite spices of all time, cumin. We're gonna add a quarter cup of that as well. And that really gives it that chili, kind of southwestern, smoky kind of flavor and smell, you know, and taste. We're gonna stir those in. We're gonna let that cook for a little while, simmer all together. We'll check it maybe in 5 or 10 minutes and see how the seasonings are. We can always add more spices. We can add more chili powder. We can add more cumin. We can add a little bit of salt. If we need a little more backbone, we can add a little more base. That's the beauty of cooking. We can always fix things.
All right, go.
All right, so Forrest is force feeding me beer. I'm not sure where that's going. But anyways, we're at the end of our session. So we got our delicious pot of Gridiron chili. Got our amazing, not dry, look at that, that's nice and moist. Not dry cornbread. Got some garnishes. We got some fresh cheese, some sour cream. We got some rice that's still in the microwave that I forgot about. And we got some red jalapenos to put on top of our chili along with the cornbread. So if anybody's curious, red jalapenos, green jalapenos, right? What's the difference? So red is actually the mature version of a jalapeno. As it gets older, it turns from green to red. And really it's just to mess with your mind. So we expect red to be really hot, right? As opposed to green. Green, not hot. So we think of green as like a bell pepper. Then we think of like a red habanero or red scorpion or something like that, super hot. These actually get more mild as they get older. Unlike people get less mild as they get older.
More
they
bitter.
get a little more crazy. Jalapenos, not so much. Or more bitter. Yeah, like Forrest, you know. So these are some great garnishes. You could always do anything you want on top of chili. You can do Fritos, diced onions, you name it, fresh bacon, all kinds of stuff. But for us, we're gonna do it the classic way. Forrest brought an interesting question before, and he's asking like, when are we gonna add the rice to the chili? And that's kind of a regional thing. So some places, I think more in the north, you actually add your rice into the chili. And it's more of like a porridge or a stew. Whereas we're gonna add the rice into our bowl, not into all of the chili. So I'm gonna plate the first one. I'm gonna give the task to Forrest afterwards. So we're gonna start with our chili in the bowl. And we're gonna give a nice big scoop of some rice in there. This is basmati rice, got a little bit of sweetness to it. Right there in the middle. And we're gonna keep adding some more stuff to it. So we're gonna add our cheese all the way around. We don't wanna put it right on top of the rice. We actually want it to melt into the chili a little bit, right? And some sour cream, totally optional. My wife does not like this.
Nope.
My daughter will have this entire container. But at the same time, I like it as well. So we're gonna this will be my bowl. So we're gonna do 3 big scoops in there. All right. And obviously if this is my bowl, we're gonna add a lot of chilies, right? And that's the way I like mine. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys check the recipes out. Please subscribe to our YouTube page, A Chef and a Vet. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Catch you later.
All right, so now's the moment of truth. Time to taste. I mean, look at those bowls. Those look so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That cornbread looks so good, nice and moist. Got some beautiful beers. Got the Gronkzilla.
Yeah.
Got the lightning one for Cigar
High
City.
voltage.
High voltage, you know. How can I forget that, really? That's pretty catchy, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna pair great with these bowls of chili, you know. We got a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of tropical to the brew. It's going to go very well. Even the dogs agree. So the whole family is happy.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you, Cigar City. Thank you, Motorworks.
Cheers, y'all.